First of all, I want to welcome Premier Ball, MP Yvonne Jones, Minister Coady, Mr. Lehtinen, Clementine, and Mayor Ron, and all of you, ladies and gentlemen. It was in June 1965 that people gathered in this room and outside to officially open Wabush Mines. And one of the people in attendance at that event was the late Premier Joseph R. Smallwood. 53 years later, we're back here again. And it's a joyous occasion. And ever since the mine closed in February, or went into warm idle in February 2014, we've been working very hard with a lot of people to get to this day. And I want to thank our friends from Tacora who've had faith in us and worked with us to get to this very day today. I want to especially point out today 3 gentlemen who were given the task of caretakers of the facility after it closed. Tony Cranford, Kevin Barry, Eddie Power. Please stand up. These 3 gentlemen were I guess we call them caretakers. But according to everything that we've heard, they were great caretakers. And they kept the facility in a condition so that we can come here today and make this announcement. So without further ado, one of the people that gave me a lot of support through all this was the Premier. Premier Ball believed in us. He believed in Tacora. He believed in Wabush. He believed in Labrador. And I would like to invite him to the podium to have a few words. Premier Ball.
Well, good morning, everyone. And, well, Joey Smallwood had a lot of flair for those of us that remember Joey and the speeches that he would give. What I will speak for maybe a few minutes, Joey would turn into probably about an hour. So I promise you I will not do that, but I know for people in our province, we owe a lot to the vision of Joey Smallwood. Here's the ghost of Joey right there. So welcome, everyone, and I am certainly pleased to be here, as Graham said, for this, what has been a long-awaited and a very special announcement this morning. So a warm welcome to everyone. This news this morning is exciting, not just for Wabush, not just for Labrador, but there's not an area, not a region of our province that will not be touched because of this announcement this morning. So pleased to be joined by my honourable colleagues, Siobhan Coady, who's a minister who does a remarkable job in mining, oil and gas, and Siobhan has done quite a bit of work on this particular file as well. Graham Letto. I had the privilege of inviting Graham into Cabinet a few weeks ago now, and he is doing an awesome job. And as Graham said, when this discussion first started, I was getting daily updates on many occasions. He's done a great job in keeping this file active and doing a great job and largely part of why we're here today. Also, Yvonne Jones. I got to say this and welcome Yvonne again. I get the privilege of not just calling Yvonne a political friend, but indeed a personal friend for many years. There's no one that I ever have met that can actually work through a challenge in their life and do a great job in representing the people that elected her, known any better than Yvonne Jones. So great to see you again, Yvonne.
Thank you, Premier.
That's my team, but there's a team of others in the room here as well. So my pleasure to be joined by Larry Lehtinen. Of course, he's the Executive Chairman, CEO of Tacora Resources. Welcome, Larry. Good to see you again. And to Clementine, who was the Business Development Manager with the Innu Nation, drove in this morning. Always a pleasure, and we look forward to working with you. And to Ron Barron, of course, Ron's the Mayor of Wabush. And I got to say a shout out, too, to someone that I work very closely with in my office, and that's Janice Barnes. And Janice does a good job in keeping us focused on the things that are happening on the ground in Labrador West. But in doing so this morning, I also want to acknowledge the meaningful Indigenous and community engagement. It's critical if you want to be an effective resource development operator in our province. And as the Minister responsible for Indigenous affairs, I am pleased to see that Clementine is here today, and I'm pleased to see that Tacora is actively involved with the Innu Nation and the community. Today we are presented with another excellent opportunity to recognize the importance of mining in our great province, in particular in Labrador. The world needs minerals as they form the very basis of modern life. Basically, everything we use, we either grow it or we mine it. Our geology and our location of Newfoundland and Labrador to be a global supplier of minerals, particularly today as we advance a green economy, but also the environmental extremes that we work in. In our oil and gas industry, we're 500 kilometers offshore. And in our mining industry, we're in some of the most extreme weather conditions that you would see anywhere in the world. So this gives us the valuable expertise and experience that we can share the technology around the world. So I would like to recognize the team of Tacora Resources. They saw the opportunity with our provincial resources. They worked tirelessly to restart the Scully mine and bring back jobs and economic viability to this area. Now, there's a difference between seeing an opportunity and making that a reality. And that's why we're here today, to turn the opportunity into a reality. As Graham has already mentioned, in August of 2017, on the visit to Lab West, Graham said, "You've got to get on a conference call, Premier, with me and with Larry and his team." And we did that in a hotel room, something that's very unusual for a Premier to do. Graham was there, and I can tell you, to me, that was a pivotal time in the mine's future and pivotal to where we are today. And since that time, Tacora has focused on productivity, project execution, innovation, which is extremely important in today's world. They want to deliver the value to their shareholders while adding tremendous new jobs and supplier opportunities for Western Labrador. Tacora, you have delivered. Thank you. Since purchasing the mine in July of 2017, the company has been working to reactivate the Scully mine and the mill for the next 26 years. I understand that they will operate an expected annual production rate of approximately 6 million tons of concentrate at full operation, with a final product of some 65.9% iron content and only 1.4% manganese and 2.6% in silica. The restart of the mine will provide opportunity for 260 positions. This includes bargaining unit, non-bargaining unit employees, and contracted services directly associated with the ongoing operation of the mine. The work starts today. The hiring process starts today. The next step in the way forward for Wabush starts today. Now, it's important that we sustain this momentum and further grow an industry that already directly employs some 4,800 people, largely in rural areas. The restart of the Scully mine is another major accomplishment for the mining industry in our province, and for that I want to congratulate all of you for a job well done. In a very competitive global market, our government, through our Way Forward, is working very closely with companies like Tacora to highlight the attractiveness of our province. We want to bring new investment to our province. We want to create new opportunities for local businesses. All of this creates jobs for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Today's announcement further reflects that our way forward is working. In the last 18 months, we have seen investments in our mining and our oil and gas industries totaling more than $16 billion. These investments are creating significant employment opportunities, generating new opportunities for local businesses, and improving government's ability to invest in programs. You see, if we do not have significant economic activity, therefore we can't invest in roads, schools, and hospitals. Very quickly, I want to give you just some examples of what mining has done in our province. We just recently seen Valleys underground, 16,000 person-years of employment. Canada Fluorspar, an opportunity that was on the Burin Peninsula and now employing some 275 people in the town of St. Lawrence. IOC, just within the recent weeks, opening up the Moss Pit. This is a new open pit that will extend the life of the current mine and maintain the production of high-quality iron ore into concentrate and to pellets. These are just some examples of what's happening in our province, but it's all part of mining the future of 2030, which is led by Minister Siobhan Coady. I also want to thank the staff. We have a few of them right here, are no strangers for people in Labrador West. They've done a remarkable job, a very small team working with Siobhan, a very small team in the success that we're seeing in the mining industry, and I want to congratulate them and publicly acknowledge the work that they are doing. They're currently working with the Government of Canada and our territories to make sure that we put in place a national mining plan, but our own mining sector plan will work with the national mining strategy. It's important that we continue to work with our federal government and find areas that we can cooperate and bring benefits to our province. Also, it's important that we work with the province of Quebec to our cooperation agreement. This will also help sustain and develop further opportunities in the Labrador Trough. So restarting the Scully mine is a critical step forward right here in Western Labrador, really, which is the core of the mining industry in our province. Our future success, ladies and gentlemen, depends on our ability to attract and support prospecting, to support exploration and development, while working with an industry that is driven by the commodity markets. We always need to remind ourselves that there's extreme global competition for the financial resources that makes this happen today. So today's announcement will continue to propel our province forward as we see many great things coming from our natural resources. So let's continue to build an impressive future in Newfoundland and Labrador.
We are pleased, really pleased today to announce that we've closed financing of $212 million of debt and equity, together with $64 million of equipment financing. Previous to that, we had raised and expended 58 million or so, 59 million of debt and equity, primarily equity, to acquire the mine, to provide the financial assurance, to buy some shovels and drills, and to sustain the operation, feasibility studies, all the things you have to do to develop and get ourselves to this point. But the big thing is getting money, and that's no small task, no easy task. And this team has worked tirelessly to get to this point. And today we're pleased to announce to you all and to the world that we have completed this financing. And a total of $335 million has been raised in total for this effort, which will that'll go towards things like buying 10 new haul trucks, which are on order and starting to arrive in January through May. We're going to be making product in June of next year. We will be making the world's highest quality center feed on the planet, bar none. And that's the kind of material you can make from this ore body here at the Scully mine, which, as Premier indicated, we will be able to make at least 6 million tons, and we're going to shoot for getting it up to 6.5 million tons, and do that for 25, 26, 27 years and longer, frankly. We think there's more ore than that. That's the proven and probable so far. We're going to be working to increase that number over time, and we're confident we will. And so we imagine this Scully mine to be operating successfully for decades to come. And we're really excited with that. Also really happy to announce today that we have extended our offtake contract with Cargill. Cargill, everybody knows that name. They're one of the world's largest global iron ore distributors, traders, and we have 100% of our product at Scully sold for the next 15 years.
Here, here.
So we're pleased with that. Cargill was one of the two first initial phone calls we made. After Matthew's initial visit here 2 years ago, he came back and told Joe and I that, we really got to take a hard look at the Scully mine, and I'm familiar with it. My history with this operation goes back almost exactly 30 years. It was 30 years ago. I was staying in this hotel for about a 3-week period as the representative of Inland Steel. At the time, I was a 33-year-old general manager of iron ore for Inland, and responsible for, amongst other things, the Wabush mine interest of Inland. And so it's been a long time from that age till, my age of 49 now. So, pleased to be back in this same building, and these tools in front of us here that toppled over, they were the tools that were used to break ground on the operation in 1965. So very special. So we're really pleased to have Cargill. I mean, if you don't have a customer, you don't have anything. And so we made our first phone call to Cargill. The second phone call we made was to the leaders at the United Steelworkers Union, because we know from our history that an organization, an operation, we can talk about kilowatt hours and gallons of diesel fuel and stripping ratios and the 34 million tons a year we're going to move, and the 6.5 million tons of product we're going to make, and all these details. We can talk till the cows come home on that. But we are nothing if you don't have the right team put together. If you don't have the right people, the right organization, we will be successful for decades to come by creating a high-performance organization culture and a high-performance organization at Scully. That will be what drives this organization in the future. And knowing that, believing that, we called the United Steelworker leadership, Marty Warren, and their plane couldn't get in, I understand, but I think we have some people here from the Steelworkers Union. Lawrence McKay, are you here? You or anyone else, please stand up. So our initial call was to the leadership of the steelworkers, and we told them what our ideas were. They might have looked a little cross-eyed at us in terms of what we wanted to do, and our vision of what this culture is going to be, how we're going to build this organization, what we want to do. We want to make it one where the pay is not the same no matter what you do. I've worked in organizations. I've spent 40 years in this business, and I know how I've seen organizations do it poorly, do it wrong, and I've seen organizations do it really well. And we want to do it really well, and we know that begins with our good partners at the Steelworkers. And they listen to those values, those goals, those ideas we had. And to their credit, they rolled up their sleeves and dug in and created this first of its kind, really historic CBA that we have in place here as the foundation for us proceeding forward with the Scully Mine restart. And so we're excited about that. I think that, I believe that the future success is going to be driven by the group of people we put together. 260 people we're going to hire, as was said, starting today. Applications are being accepted, and we're going to put together a high-performance team that's empowered. Our philosophy is, give people the freedom, the tools, give them the latest, greatest technology and tools to work with, and that's what some of that $344 million is going to be spent to do. Brand new equipment, the latest, greatest automation and controls, and give them a reason to perform and financially, so they're invested. I want everybody pulling on the rope in the same direction, and we'll get that from the way we're going to run this organization. And most importantly, we will overlay it with a heavy amount of communication and trust in our people. And that will be the reasons why this organization succeeds in the long term. So that's the plan, that's the vision, and thank you guys with the Steelworkers for being there from the very beginning for us. So that's our plan. We're going to be in production in June of next year. We're going to, I have some purchase orders sitting in my computer now waiting to be executed, and we're good at spending money, and we're going to do it effectively, efficiently, and get this campfire started, and happy to be here today. Could not be happier, and I want to thank everyone again who's contributed, all of the political leadership and all of the people here today. There's been lots of people contributing to getting us to this point, and we're just really, really, really delighted to be here and to kick this off. Thank you.
It's an exciting time to be back in this beautiful town. And a day we've been working towards since we became government. Hearkening back and thinking about, I think, Matt, the first time I spoke with you was back in January of 2016, I believe. So it's been a ways to get here, and a lot of effort and a lot of work, but that tenacity and diligence and methodical work really does pay off. So thank you for that. Project has been working towards since the mine, I guess you took over the mine last year, and we've been really working steadily since then to bring it to this day. And I'm pleased to join Premier Ball and, of course, my colleague Graham Letto, who worked very diligently, and MP Yvonne Jones, who also always was a cheerleader for this project. And to recognize the importance of this announcement and the milestone this is for Wabush. The restart of the Scully mine has been a collaborative effort. Tacora, government, Indigenous leaders, labor, and so many others. This announcement is about safe, good quality, high-paying mining jobs returning to Wabush. This is about people, it's about families, and we're thrilled to join in celebrating this announcement with you. And a number of people have recognized the team at Natural Resources, and let me tell you again, they work very hard on behalf of this province. And I want to recognize the head of mining for the province, Perry. He's already been spoken about, but you all know Perry in this room. You all know the great work that he's done here in Lab West over the years, but we're very, very pleased to have him in the department and working on mining. So thank you, Perry. Thank you as well as to Gordon and to other team members that aren't here today, Alex Smith, who's the director, and as well as Diana Quinton, who works very, very diligently as well. So I just want to thank them for their outstanding commitment and their diligence and their efforts, because they really are making a difference in this province. Upon purchase of the mine back in July of 2017, Tacora has proposed to reactivate the Scully mine and mill, and once in operation, the mine will produce approximately 6 million tons of concentrate, as already been said. This is great news for Wabush and Lab West, and indeed the entire province, that Scully and Wabush is restarting, fully financed, as this will mean good, long-term, high-paying jobs return to this vital mining region for many years to come. Mining is one of the province's most important industries, and Lab West is the most important mining area. With $48 million in exploration expenditures and $3 billion in mineral shipments forecast in 2018, the mining industry is expected to employ directly 4,800 people throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. And this doesn't include those employed through the mining construction activities. We have 11 producing mines, 14 metal and non-metal commodities, 46% of Canada's iron ore shipments, and 26% of Canada's nickel shipments. In the last 18 months, we've announced investments in natural resources of over $16 billion, and more than $2 billion of those investments are in the mining industry alone. To advance mineral development, we must position our province as globally competitive, top-tier jurisdiction for mineral exploration and development. And with this vision in mind, we as a province have initiated Mining the Future 2030, a plan for growth in the Newfoundland and Labrador mining industry and the way forward on mineral development. And Mining the Future, and there are copies here for you when you leave, Mining the Future will grow the Newfoundland and Labrador mining industry, and in the process create jobs throughout the province in collaboration with Indigenous governments, groups, and community stakeholders. The restart of the Scully mine demonstrates the many benefits mining brings to the province as we work to achieve our Mining the Future goals. We welcome Tacora. So glad to have him here, and we hope for a long, safe, prosperous, and successful future for your company, its workers, and this community. To Larry, Matt, Bob, and the entire team, congratulations on your hard work and looking forward to continuing to celebrate your success. Again, congratulations on this exciting opportunity in the mining industry, and thank you again for all that you do. Thank you.
But I certainly want to thank Larry and the Tacora team for being here, and to extend to you the warmest of welcomes to Labrador. And we're so happy to have you in the town of Wabush, as I'm sure the mayor will be delighted to acknowledge in a few minutes. But to say to you that Labrador is really built by strong people, strong companies, who stand firm for what we believe in, and we take care of each other. And Tacora is such a tremendous addition to that package, coming from your roots in Minnesota. You know small towns, you know what it's like to work with people in regions like ours, and we could not have thought of a better fit. So I don't think it's by accident. I think you really sought us out and said, what a delightful crowd these people are in Labrador, and we want to be a part of that. But we certainly welcome you. Premier Ball, I don't know, you're in Labrador as much as I am, and I live here, but it's good to have you here, always. And I have to say and reiterate what Graham has said already. And while Graham is our provincial minister in the government, I have been in his shoes, and I know that it takes tremendous support from your colleagues in government to move big files like this. And with the greatest of work and effort, he has accomplished this and done so with tremendous support from the Premier. And I want to recognize that, because often in Labrador, we sometimes don't always get the depth of what it takes from governments and those in leadership to really believe in and put 100% into making things like this come to reality. We are fortunate that we have a premier, we have a government that is there for us in Labrador, and because of it, we've not only been able to move with companies like Tacora as great partners, but with many other great partners and doing good work in Labrador. So we acknowledge that, and we thank you, and we thank Minister Coady for her work. I want to acknowledge Mayor Barron, who's a steel worker, who was a worker at Wabush Mines. And I'm sure for him today and the steel workers that are here and many others in our community, this is a very emotional day as well. I know many of them spent their whole lives at Scully Mines. And I know in 2014, I watched them with the lumps in the pit of their stomachs, not knowing where they were going to go next and what was going to happen in this community. And we were there with the people of this community from that day to this day and for the days to come. But you have to go through it and live it to really understand it. And when I look in this room today, but even outside, even in the community, and even walking this morning, it's like a winter wonderland in Labrador West. It's the picture of something magic. And I think that when you live in an environment like this and you're so dependent upon an industry like that in the mining industry, you know there's going to be challenges, and the industry is cyclical, but you never really think it's going to come to what it came to in 2014. And I want to salute the people of this community, the people who have stuck with Wabush. Despite what happened, there are many people in this community who continue to open businesses. The former mayor, Colin Vardy, who started with us on this journey with Tacora. Many others who opened new businesses despite that. Built new houses in the community. Looked for other opportunities and never once gave up. So I want to say to Tacora, you're walking into a community of strong, diligent, hardworking people, and I know that they will serve your company well. I think it's important today that we also acknowledge the role of the Indigenous people of Labrador in ongoing industries. And I'm so happy to have my good friend Clem here today. Clem Kuyper is the manager of the Innu Development Corporation, a corporation that has over 300 Indigenous partnership companies. that are employing people right across this province and right across the country. And to have them here in a partnership with Tacora, I want to say how good that is, how happy I am about that, because Labrador is really a community that has tremendous respect for our Indigenous people and for the people on whose land we get to occupy, get to work, get to make money, get to spend our money, and so on. And I think that is so important to have those strong partnerships. So today, I would like to say just a couple of words, I guess, and that is that as the Government of Canada, we are a strong supporter of the iron ore industry. In fact, Canada produces over 60 different minerals and metals, and I think the industry in 2017 in this country was worth over $44 billion, and that's amazing. It employed 426,000 people in mining in 2017, and guess what? Just because of what's happening here in Labrador, we're going to grow those numbers in 2018. Going underground in Voisey's Bay, expanding at IOC, a new deposit being developed at Tata Steel and the Labrador-Shefferville border, and this announcement today by Tacora is all directly employing more people in Canada's mining industry, and I could not be prouder that those jobs are right here in Labrador. We are recognized around the world as one of the leading mining nations. That's why when Canada is at the table negotiating with foreign countries, whether it's our NAFTA deal, our deal with the European Union, our hopeful breakthrough on more trade with China, all of these things are contributing to us creating a stronger economy right here in our home communities. It's allowing us to employ more people. Last week, the Premier joined a delegation of Atlantic Premiers and the Government of Canada to be in China, to meet with many of these companies that we are looking to invest right here in the mining industry, but also as trading partners and as new export markets. And we're really proud of the work that we've been able to do. In this country, we produce 35 million tons of iron ore. That's going to go to 41 million tons of iron ore in a couple of years because, well, in the next year because of Tacora. And 46% of that iron ore is produced right here in Labrador West. 46% of the entire Canadian production of iron ore is happening right here in the Labrador Trough. We are not only the largest producers and exporters of iron ore in the country, but the Labrador Trough alone is known in the mining dictionary around the world. Everyone is aware of what the Labrador Trough is. And it's simply because it is producing and creating opportunity for everyone who has the ability to break in. In fact, the iron ore trough in Labrador right now has produced in excess of 2 billion tons of iron ore to date, which is remarkable. So we are really proud of our history in Labrador as miners, as steel workers, as companies who've been able to partake in this industry. We are proud of our contributions to the province of Newfoundland and Labrador and the economy of our entire region. And we know that we are all benefiting. And we have seen those benefits firsthand. So I really believe that today, while we might have started with tremendous skepticism since 2014 over whether this day would ever come or if it would ever be possible, and I say this with the greatest of respect, but I really believe that for a lot of us, Tacora was the company of last hope as to whether we would see Scully reopen or not open for a long time. And I say that Tacora was the company of last hope, and many of us believe that. And today, they are the company of future growth. future growth for all of us. And they will bring a strength to this community and to our local economy that we have been missing for quite some time. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here, the opportunity to support Graham, Premier Ball, Minister Coady in the work that they've been doing in Labrador West, and we'll be there supporting Tacora. As the Government of Canada, we have many programs that are there. I want to recognize the people from ACOA here today, Ken Martin, Rex Gowdy. We do a lot of work with companies across Labrador, whether it's in new technologies, skill development, and infrastructure, and we'll be there to support this company. So I think my new famous lines are going to be, what do you get for $335 million? It's a lot of money, and in the fiscal environment that we're in today, I think you've done an excellent job in bringing that capital to this investment. And it certainly speaks to the diligent business plan that Tacora has put in place, a plan that is realistic, a plan that you'll see growth around. And so for $335 million, we're going to get 6 million tons of iron ore. We're going to get 260 direct jobs, which means hundreds of more indirect jobs in the community. We're going to get a renewed lease on life in Wabush. And Matt, you can have all the tailings you want. And we will fill the stockings for you.
Good morning. I'd like to say a few notes from Gregory Rich, the Deputy Chief. So, good morning to you. Thank you for the kind introduction, Graham.
Thank you.
I am here today to represent Innu Nation's Grand Chief, Gregory Rich, who regrettably could not be here. I have been asked to express Innu Nation's congratulations to Tacora on achieving this important step to reopen the Scully mine. And in doing so, Innu Nation also recognizes the importance of strong federal and provincial partners, Premier Ball, our MP Yvonne Jones, and Minister Coady, and MHA Minister Graham Letto. We also acknowledge the importance of the economic stability that this reopening brings to Western Labrador. This reopening clearly shows that Western Labrador is not only surviving, but strong, growing, and succeeding. Innu Nation is pleased to have an impact and benefits agreement with Tacora that aims to establish a cooperative and respectful relationship based on information sharing, confidence, trust, and certainty, and one that recognizes Innu Nation's mandate of good environmental stewardship. We hope to create the same strong relationship as the one that we have with Tacora here in Western Labrador, through the creation of strong business and professional partnerships. We have found that partnering in economic development opportunities is important to shared success, and today we see much opportunity. I am the manager of the Innu Business Development Center. Since our first IBA with Voices Bay Nickel Company, now Vale, we have registered nearly 300 businesses. Much of this has been made possible through great entrepreneurship and through the ongoing support of ACOA. And I also acknowledge Ken Martin, Vice President of ACOA, Newfoundland, Labrador, and Rex Gowdy, who are here with us. Governments are progressive. With this announcement, the Innu Nation is progressive and committed to strong partnerships. And in doing good business that needs expectations for quality and competency. We look forward to a continued strong relationship with Tacora and the beginning of a great partnership with the people of Labrador West. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clem. And it certainly is important that we have that strong relationship with our Indigenous community. It's also important that any mining company have a strong relationship within the community that it operates. And I know I've had a lot of conversations with Mayor Barron over the past couple of years. I can give you his cell number, but I'm not going to do that.
I'll give it to him myself.
Okay, all right. So Mayor Barron, it's certainly been a pleasure to work with you over the past couple of years to get us where we are today. I know there's still some work to do, but nevertheless, we will get there if we work together. And I think what's happened over this past weekend is indicative of that. Working together, you achieve great things. So Mayor Barron, please come forward and have a few words.
Premier Ball, Ministers Coady, Letto, Larry, Matt, and the Tacora team, MP Yvonne Jones and Clem. Welcome here today to this great day for announcing the future of Wabush continuing. You know, sometimes I often get crapped on for bringing up past, but I'm going to go back and talk about the past a little bit here. You know, in 2014, as MP Yvonne Jones alluded to, it wasn't a good time. There's many people that are here in this room that worked in that mine when that announcement came that day. And, you know, people were saying, do you think it'll ever open again? I always remain optimistic. Never skepticism in my mind would that mine never open. Every time we ever had meetings from the time we met down here, Matt at the hotel with the steelworkers that time and other colleagues that were here with you at that time, I was always optimistic that this mine would open because the alternative is nothing. And I could never see this happening to this mine as being nothing. There's ore in the ground. It only makes sense to get it out. And I'm very glad to see that, you know, from Matt's initial visit here, that this is now snowballed into this announcement today, that this mine is going to bring not just life back to the Wabush, but to the Labrador West. The province is going to be making, you know, benefits from this, which will ultimately, hopefully, flow back, ministers. And we talked about money, so. So this is a very great day for the town of Wabush and Labrador West. And thank you, Larry and Matt, for believing in this area. And I'm looking forward to the next 25, 26 plus years. Hopefully I'll still be around, who knows. The partnership that the town of Wabush will have with you guys in making this area benefit greatly. So thank you very much.